And it says going live, and I take that to mean you're live or I'm alive. And good afternoon, good Friday. I know I sound nasal. Oh my gosh. And it's only because I keep doing that. Sorry. It's better every week, but I heal more slowly because of an injury that I took many, many years ago. Good Lord. Just after I got into Houston. How long ago is that? 99? No, much earlier than that. 95. 91. That was when I came to Houston. So, oh well. Excuse me. At any rate, it is Friday. It's my favorite day of the week. It's Pi Day Friday. And this is Drama. Dave Rush. Ask me anything. I am Dave Rush, senior instructor at Total Seminars. And we get together every Friday and talk about CompTIA and testing and technology and Raspberry Pis and put them all together. Take comments, take questions, hold contests, all kinds of good stuff. We got a nice project today. We'll start that about the top of the hour. That'll be fun. It's quick. You know what? I could do that project quite literally in 45 seconds. But you know me, we're going to drag it out to probably 15 or 20 minutes because it's a 2-hour show. And I just like to hear myself talk. Well, I'm really washed out. Let me make an adjustment to the light here. That's going to be horrible. Yeah, you like a little dimmer. There we go. All right. So excuse me. At any rate, hi, I hope you're all doing well. Let's see who's here, and then we'll go and get the initial stuff. It's a short start. No, it's about a normal start. I'm looking at that here. So Will Shaw in before Tullowit. Yes. In 12:56. Yeah, that's more than an hour before showtime. My guess is Tullowit hadn't even gotten up yet. I think Tullowit's got an alarm that goes off about 30 minutes before showtime. He gets up. He already has it typed into the box, ready to hit enter. So he hits enter and then goes back to sleep until the show starts. Yeah, and then Tullowit came in. Hello, Tullowit, about a half an hour after you did. Andre de Goyard is here. Howdy, old good Texan word, if ever there was one. Kylie Powder is here. Kylie's been having all kinds of stuff. First of all, congratulations on your 0365 certification, the MS 900 best. I hope that pays off in well for you in employment or just skill set, whatever the case may be. And she's got a pie, or he's got a pie. So you don't, Kylie, that's a she, I'm pretty sure. I say stuff like that, and then somebody writes me, Dave, you called me a she today. I'm a he, or a they, or a them, or whatever word of the week, I can't keep track of it all. Okay, yeah, all right, so the hat. I'm not going to wear it for the whole show. I have been on the hunt for a good cowboy hat for a long, long time. Mike got me turned on to the idea. So that makes it 11 years. I live in Texas. I go to the rodeo every year, but I always go in a golf shirt, a polo shirt, a pair of shorts or whatever. And I thought I do work for the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, the HLSR, every year or so. I didn't do anything the last 2 years because of COVID, but they have these committees and they have meetings, and then they have a kickoff meeting before they really start the big push for the big rodeo. And we provide lighting for that and other kinds of goodies. And so I said to myself, Self, when you get a hat, there's a logo on the HSLR of a cowboy hat and some other stuff. And it's a particular shape and thing like that. So I said, that's number one. It's got to be that shape. Second of all, it can't be white because Mike wears white and it looked like I'm copying him. And there was other sets of criteria. It had to fit. It has to be in the budget of the world's cheapest human. And so finally, all the stars aligned. I don't know, last Saturday, last Sunday, something like that. And I came up with this thing. And it was a wreck. The only thing that it had going for it was that it fit. And after that, it looks grayish and dirty in this light, the way I'm looking at it. It is beautiful black everywhere on top and bottom when it doesn't have all this harsh lighting on me. So, but you couldn't tell. because the previous owner, I bought it used, stored it apparently underneath the dust that he pours out of cleaning his house every week. And literally, it was just caked with this brown tan dust. And the brim, there was no curl here. There was no tip here. This was right. The profile was right. And so I got on the horn on Monday, or got online Monday, and started researching folks who work with hats around here, right? A milliner. It's a term you don't hear anymore. And I had to dig that one way out of my childhood, but I needed to find a milliner. And every milliner, there are a million places here in Houston who will sell you a cowboy hat. Oh, clean them? No. Oh, reblock them or reprofile them? No, we don't do that. But here, I'll get you a new one for $450. So I found somebody who would steam it and shape it in a place nearby. And so I said, well, I need it cleaned. I don't want you to be steaming it while it's caked with this horrible dust. That'll just bake it in. But let me come down and talk to you and see what I can learn. And so I did, and they did a little bit of cleanup on it and made a half-hearted attempt at a steam job, and it went nowhere. And they said, nah, this is beyond us. And they recommended a place that was actually closer between where I went, which is about 20 minutes away, and where I live. So a place about 10 minutes away. And so I went in there, no announcement, didn't call in advance or anything. And they said, oh yeah, we clean and block and profile and shape, and we don't charge for it. It's free service, but we work for tips. I said, well, if you can do anything with this, it's worth a tip, a good one. So I went back there, and they said, we have the guy who does it all, and he's an expert, and he's been teaching the staff here. So everybody, here's this list of apprentices. We'll send you with an apprentice. And so, okay, what do I know? So an apprentice came over, and she looked it over and turned it upside down and said, this one is real leather, and it's real this and real that. I'm not going to mess with it. Let me get the guy in. So the guy came in, Chris, and he worked on it for a half hour, 40 minutes, and we had a nice chat. And it was like watching a magician at Hogwarts. Just, he would do something and magic would happen, and it was suddenly cleaner. And then he did something else and it was cleaner. And next thing you know, it's like it came out of the box clean, but it still looks like it's been through a steamroller. And then he starts working on steaming and shaping, and 40 minutes later, it's this. And oh my gosh, I was so beside myself. I tipped very well considering the salary that I make, and I'm done with it for today. It was just on for a starter. But wow, I cannot wait to go to the rodeo this March. I might buy a pair of boots. Who knows? I know you wanted to hear all that. Tough. I'm excited about it. All right, back to biz here. Wilson's here. Hola, my good friend, and hello to everyone. TD Wash is here, right on top of the hour. Not a bad idea. Catherine Legrand, one of our 3 Catherines. You guys are getting tough to keep track of, but bonjour, Catherine Leblonde. You might be blonde. Legrand. Good afternoon, Zach. Amongst the living. Nice to see you, my friend. All right, you're here. I have a quickie project to do after the show while the sun shines, but then I'm going to come on Discord afterwards. So, Zach, hope you turn up on Discord. Hear what's new in your life. Okay, you're a she. Thank you, Kylie. It seemed obviously, but I'm working with a person online on a project, and the spelling of their name is DANIELE. I have since learned the correct pronunciation and the gender of this person, but man, I was terrified to do anything that is it Danielle, which, that's what I've assumed. I've assumed kind of a French pronunciation. It's Daniela. And then when one of the other team members I've been working with said Daniela, I said, oh, in my head, okay, well, every Daniela that I ever met is a nice young lady or older lady, but I didn't say anything. Unfortunately, another sentence or two down the road out of one of the other team members said, yeah, he, oh, okay, Daniela, the he. So you just never know. Glad I didn't stick my foot in my mouth. The gambler, I know, I pay more attention to hats now. So I'll check out Kenny Rogers next time, The Gambler, or one of the 4 or 5 The Gambler movies on. Toluit, I don't do the pronoun thing. Amateur noun, thank you. Amateur nouns and pronouns. Well, no, they'd be am nouns. If it's going to be pronoun, it's am noun. If it's a professional noun, different animal. I got turned on to the word add noun. God, how far back was it? 6 months ago. Let's call it that. Maybe a little farther back. Scott was here, and he and I were tossing around the term. An add noun. That's when you use an adjective that applies to a noun in place of the noun. And the most common example that everybody cites when you're into add nouns is blonde, right? You don't say the blonde woman or the blonde guy. You say the blonde. Well, blonde is an adjective, but now it's being used in place of the noun as the noun. So it's an add noun. So loving that figure of speech. Wilshaw talking to Toluit. I won't even read it. Wilson, not exam related. That's okay. We do anything tech here. Please, anyone help me to know what Control M and Dynatrace software are used for with examples. I don't have the answer to either of those questions. Somebody may. So I'm going to let that question sit out there for others to research, and I'm going to mark it down here, copy it, put it into my notes area. Hey, I see one of our regulars just popped up on Steam. He's playing Steam and not watching here. We're going to have a meeting about that. Okay, let me go put this in this document so I can look that up. Wilson, if I do not, if somebody doesn't answer that question today, I will research that today and answer you on Discord. We will come up with Dynatrace software and Control M. Okay. Wilson, Kenny Rogers Roasters. I was under the impression that they closed all or most of them. I think the same is true for, what was that other country home style cooking? It'll come to me. Used to hit him on the road now and again. Cheeky monkey. Semi-pro. Okay. Well, let's go check notes. Then we're caught up on introductions and introductory comments and questions and things of that nature. What is this document? If I click on that, where will I wind up? Someplace that shouldn't be up. There we go. Now it's not. All right, Word document, notes. There we go. What's going on today? It is, if you're watching this on the archive, this show is recorded on July 22nd of 2022. And I mentioned it before, but I'll do it again because we've had more than a few more people join up. I am Dave Rush. This is Drama. Dave Rush Ask Me Anything, where we talk technology and Raspberry Pis and CompTIA certifications and anything that strikes your fancy except religion, politics, and pandemics. Let's keep that out of the mix. Ugh. I know. Anything worthwhile in the notes here? Why are we here? We are here because this is show number 102. And that means next week is show number 103. Now, if it was show number 104, that would be 2 years of operation. There was one show, one time that we had to cancel. And so we are still going to do our 2-year anniversary show next week, because next week is the 29th. Our inaugural show was on the 31st of July. So that's close enough, right? So next week's show, no project. We're just going to get together. We're going to talk. We'll open topic, absolutely anything. Contests galore. I got lots of cool and fun giveaways. I'll be putting the word out on the various, I hesitate to call them social media because I don't participate in any of the traditional social media. You know, you're not going to find me on Facebook or Twitter or anything like that. I'm certainly on LinkedIn. I'm certainly on some Reddit forums. I'm on the Raspberry Pi forum. So are those social media? Yeah, but there will be announcements there about the show next week. Put the word out amongst your friends and colleagues and family. We really appreciate a good turnout. I'll decorate the set, get some sparklies and hangies, and we'll just have a good old time for a couple hours and give away a lot of stuff. And there is nothing that I can't provide overseas. So international folks, by all means, come on in. Let's have some fun. Past it. We do get together 3 times a week. I get together with you once a week, every Friday, 2 o'clock Central Daylight Time. Later, it'll be on Central Standard Time on this channel, the Total Seminars channel on YouTube. Mike uses this same channel on Mondays and Wednesdays, same time, and does open topic and sometimes presentations. So please join us all anytime you want. They're all live, they're interactive. If for some reason you can't join us live and in an interactive format, there are other ways to communicate with me. Of course, first of all, we encourage you to watch the shows if there's a topic of interest for you. I beg your pardon, on the what the heck just happened there? Man, I was going to do this so smooth and then it pulled something on me. Anyways, there's a topic of interest for you. Check it out. And I'll show you how you can find all kinds of additional information on that. That'll just be tons of fun. If you're watching this in archive format, you can't communicate with me live and real time. That's all right. There's other ways to do it. Just send me an email, either, not both, to daveR@totalsem.com or drushtx@yahoo.com. And I will be glad to communicate with you with whatever you've got in mind. You got a comment, you got a question, you want something clarified, happy to help out. And as long as I'm mentioning that, that's what oh, there it is. We of course have a playlist. If you go to YouTube/user/Total Seminars channel, you'll see playlists across there, and you'll see Mike's playlist, all of the AMAs that he's done since we started this program, all my dramas that I've ever done since we started this program. And they're all lovely titled, so you can find a topic that interests you. And by the way, to help people find things that interest them, if you're watching the show live or on archive, please click that like button, that thumbs up button. That helps people find this stuff later. That's very kind. I maintain a server. I run it full-time on weekends. I started up on Friday morning and shut it down on Sunday nights. I also bring it up on request. Send me an email. It tells me when you would like it to be up and running, and it will be up and running and available for you. Why would I care if it's up and running, Dave? Well, for the following reason. Everything that I do to create a show and a project, from what we're talking about right now, this is part of my notes. I create all kinds of documentation. So all the slides that I make, all the pictures that I take or make, all the outlines, all the code, everything that I do, I take all that as just before the show goes live. So I've got all the stuff incorporated, warts and all. Sometimes there's typos and things like that. That's all right. They don't hurt anything. And I save them as a zip file and put them up on that web server. And you can access that web server anytime, like I said, during the weekend. It's up 24 hours a day over the weekend and otherwise on request. It's an HTTP. I used to have an HTTPS. I'm not moving anything secure back and forth over it. So I've decided to abandon that. There's nothing for you to risk. There's no information that will be lost. So HTTP easier for what I'm doing here. It's pirsquare.zapto.org. And you can go to one of the links at the top of the page. That'll take you to the downloads page, and every show that we've had that has downloadable documentation. Sometimes we just do open Q&A, rare occasion, but we do that. So I don't do, documents for that. There's no notes worthy of you to share, but you get the idea. So check that out. Pi squared. I'm going to put up something in the next 48 hours. And I would like you all to be checking that. I'll do an announcement on all the usual sources. I am writing a Linux course for Udemy. In fact, I'm writing two of them. One is 4 different ways out of the hundreds to install a variety of Linuxes. And then the other is basic Linux admin. You want to apply as an entry-level Linux administrator. This is the stuff that you're going to get tech questions on. This is the stuff that you should practice. It's the stuff you should know. And one of the things that I did as an early test run was to do a little 20-minute presentation on SQL servers. Linux administrators should be at least familiar with the basic types of sorry, I said SQL servers. How about databases, SQL databases, and object-oriented database. And I did and everything that you need to know as a beginner about those things. We don't talk about how to use them. We don't talk about the commands. I don't even show you how to make one. We've done that in a number of projects here. And, if you ever want that as a dedicated project, be happy to do it. But I'm trying to decide, is that video that I made, it's about 20 minutes long, worthy to leave alone, just put some branding on it and include it as part of the course, or does it suck? Don't include that. Do it fresh, do it better. And I will warn you that I recorded that somewhere around 2 o'clock in the morning, right here in my little studio. Lighting was about this good. That's one of the nice things about it. But I started off really stiff. I started off with a script and then finally, got comfortable with the material after a couple of minutes and became my usual loquacious and comfortable self, and just had some notes to refer to. Oh yeah, don't forget to talk about this and don't forget to do that. But it moved through the script. But you can really tell at the beginning how stiff and reedy it was before it turned into Dave Talks. So I'm going to put that up there in the next 24 hours or so, and it'll be up there every time the server's up. I'll do a reminder. Please download it. It's about 260 megs. It's not a big download. And check it out for me. I appreciate that. Take care of the other business while we're at it here. We got specials. And I'll put all this stuff, the links and stuff like that up in the YouTube chat feed as soon as I'm done with these slides. We got specials just for you who join us on the AMAs, with a live or beyond archive. We've got a bundle that you create. You start by going to totalsem.com, and then out of these 7 areas, you can create a 2-item bundle. So if you're interested in A+ or Security Plus or Pen Test Plus, what you do is you go to our merchant area in the totalsem.com and you select the ebook for that topic and the total tester. That's the practice test thing. Put them in your basket. And when you check out, use the code this week, good till this, excuse me, hiccups, there they come. Good till this Sunday night. Put in the code POST. I'll explain that in a little while. I've used POST in the past, but this week it means something different. So I like that. Anyways, put in the code POST, and that will get you 50% off of those 2 items in your basket. If you have other stuff in your basket, you get those at regular price, and they're already pretty darn cheap. So it's worth doing a little shopping there. But this will get you those 2 items, the ebook and the total tester, at 50% off, and that is an incredible deal. Encourage you to look into that. And the last thing we do, there is, not we do, a total unofficial Total Seminars Discord channel. There's a Discord server set up by Siegfried Vanderwee and managed by a number of the folks that are here online, Tullowit and Andre de Goyert and a couple other people, frequented by a lot of people here. And if you're not a member there, if you're not a participant there, then make yourself one. There is so much going on there. There's tech support and educational information and fun stuff. There's World of Warcraft forum and zillions of other things. I do encourage you to check that out. You'll be glad you did. All right, let me put a couple of those links up. get those from this file. What is that? Oh, I see what I did there. Okay. All right, first of all, let's put up the I love young people. My kid was the king of slobs through high school, and he's pretty horrible in college, but then he got a girlfriend. Cleans his room, vacuums it, keeps things all around his life. His car is neat and clean. Cherche la femme, huh? All right, there's one. I just posted the AMA specials and the code there. Here comes the link to Total Seminars, unofficial Total Seminars Discord channel. And again, we have nothing to do with it. It just has our name in it, and we are participants there, but we're not moderators. We're not owners, operators. We got nothing to do with it. We just watch same as you and participate same as you. Let me see. My LinkedIn profile and my email address. Why don't I have my email address on this page? That was dumb. How about this? Dave Rush's email. Dave Rush emails. Dave R at totalsem.com and drushtx at Mother, would you ask our clean son to kill that thing for the moment? Yahoo.com. All right. So my email addresses are now convenient to get to in the YouTube chat. Anything else that I want to do here? Sure, he kills it as soon as she walks out of the room. I hope you got a chance to attend the Cyber Now webinar yesterday at 8 o'clock Eastern, 8 p.m. Eastern. I did not. I'm hoping and waiting to get an email to say, here's a link where you can watch it as a recorded thing. But the world waits. The world has been very quiet today and yesterday as far as corporate communications and things like that go. I'm not sure what's going on. Excuse me. All right. Any other nonsense that I need to do for now on that page? AMAs, did the specials. They're good through this Sunday night. Then Monday morning, there'll be a new code. All right, that's good for that. Let's go back and see who else has joined us and what they have to say. I see a question for me, and I'll get to it. Okay. I really love this show just because the topics that it brings up and the roads down which people go. So Kenny Rogers Roasters still exists somewhere in Asia. Wow. You're not talking about Chinatown in New York or Houston, right? Or San Francisco? Okay. Jared Graham, one of my recent winners, is here. Welcome, Graham. Nice to see you. Good evening. Andre, I'm thinking of getting that PowerShell course on Udemy. Is anybody taking it? Was it any good? Yeah, that's really practical for what you do. I've certainly take everything that I know about PowerShell, put it in a thimble. You would still have room for the Pacific Ocean. Pandemic, great name for a metal band. I didn't read who wrote that until after I read it, knowing, oh yeah, who that would possibly be. If you got a name, you can make a band. Way to go, Andre. I had this wacky idea. Sorry, I'm a little all over the place today. I'm feeling good. My projects are well underway, though, as I suspected, man, they are coming at me thick and fast. Dave's just working on his own project. He's got to work on mine, and I've been getting dragged away for the last couple of days, hard and heavy, but nonetheless, I'm keeping up on it, and that makes me happy. Anyway, so I had this wacky idea that about horror movies. I love horror movies. Give me a 50s or 60s B movie, horror movie, and I'm a happy guy. I can park myself in front of the computer, the tube, whatever the case may be, and be happy. And many modern horrors. And it dawned on me just this morning, last night, when I don't know, sometime in the last 12 hours, wouldn't it be cool to make a list of all of the sites that were not sets for horror movies and then make an appropriate title? What are you talking about, Dave? Well, look, horror movies always, they're set in the abandoned summer camp or the real summer camp, the cabin in the woods, the clinic, all those sites have been turned to sets, but there has to be a great list of sets that haven't been used. And I came up with a couple. Maybe you'll come up with some more. How about high-rise horror? How many horror movies are set in a high-rise? There's been hotels. How about ghastly greenhouse? I know I amuse myself. All right, I'm waiting for your input. Reading messages. Let's do. Eddie is here. Hey, doing Net Plus now? But can some explain the math when calculating subnets? Yes. And it would take me the whole show. So Mike did a 2-part series on his AMAs last year, and I'm going to put up the links for both of those right now. It's going to take me a second to dig them up, but I can do this. Oh, stop it. File, open. It's in this is 2022, so it was the 21 stream index 2021. All right, it's opening. And then I think we called it cider. Look at that. Mike Myers live Q&A features cider part 1. All right, so I'm going to post this as 2 links, Eddie. Here comes the first one. This is part 1. I am posting it at whatever the current time is now, 32 minutes past the hour, give or take. And now let me get part 2. And you check that out, and it will give you a full 2-episode lesson. Everything. Stop it. What are you? God, I hate Windows more and more every day. Go away. Thank you. Okay, there's cider part 2. These were separated by 1 week. We did DNS in between there for some reason. I was able to remember that. So, okay, here's part 2. All right, so there's 2 links. Check that guy out. Now I'm going to look at your for instance and see if there's anything that I can answer shortly and quickly here. Doing Net Plus, can someone explain the math calculating subnets? For example, 2 to the power of 8 gives X amount of addresses. I get 8 pieces. How's it calculated? Okay, so let me give you the very, very short version here. A standard subnet mask has 8 ones in it over a class A address, 16 ones over a class B address, 24 ones over a class C address. What happens with subnetting is when we extend more bits beyond the default mask. So let's say that we have a class C address, 192.168.170.0. Okay, that's a class C address. The default subnet mask for that is 255.255.255.0 or 8 ones, 8 ones, 8 ones, 8 zeros. Now let's say that we extend that subnet mask by 2 bits into the 4th octet. So now it's 255.255.255. Now what's the value of 2 bits? Well, what you have to do is add up the columns that they're under. One of them is under the 128 column. One of them is under the 64 column. Add those together, that's 192. And so that value becomes 192. Subnet mask is 255.255.192. Now what that means in practical terms is we are now allowed to use the first 2 bits of the 4th octet to make subnet masks. So I'm sorry, to make subnets. So how many subnets can you make? Well, you take 2, you take 2 and you raise it to the power of the number of bits that you're going to use for subnet masks. So this one's really easy because you can do them upside down and get it wrong and still get it right. But there is 2 raised to the power of 2 bits that are being used. 2 squared is 4. So let's make it a little more fun. How about we, instead of extending the subnet mask 2 bits into the 4th octet, we extend it 3 bits into the 4th octet. So the value of that mask is now 111 and 5 zeros. So there's a 1 in the 192, I'm sorry, in the 128 column. There's a 1 in the 64 column. There's a 1 in the 32 column. Add those together, you get 224. So the subnet mask for this network is 255, 255, 255, 242. Sorry, 192, 224. We got 3 bits that we can work with to make subnet masks. So 2 to the 3rd, 2 raised to the power of 3 bits is 2 times 2 is 4 times 2 is 8. There are 8 subnets that you can make with 3 bits. 000, 001, 010, 011, 100, 101, 110, and 111. So when it comes to the answer to your simple question, it gets a little more complex when we talk about how many hosts you can have. All you have to do is know how many bits are being masked off to be used to create subnets, and you raise 2 to the number of those bits, not the value, but to how many bits you're working with, and that will tell you how many subnets you can make. And how many you can make, another way to put it in English is to say, how many possible combinations of 1s and 0s can you do with 3 bits or 4 bits or whatever? I know that's difficult to absorb saying it all verbally. Check out Mike's 2 episodes that I set up links for you, and it will become much more clear. There's a lot of good explanation in there. And then the second setup was a review and then a bunch of practice ones. All right, I know I drug that out. How are we doing here? It's 37 on time. I'm okay. Will Shaw talking to Tullowit and Andre. They're going to make a band. Pandemic Throwdowns. Let's see if I can find the old scrubbing board my grandmother left me. That's very big in, yeah, Cajun. Shoot, I've done some Cajun concerts. You know, happens that way. Sometimers disease. Emo band name. Wilson, Andre. Tell it. When is your official anniversary episode? 1 week from today, the 29th, July 29th. So no projects or anything on that. We're just going to do shoot the breeze, Q&A, comments, fun, and giveaway contests like crazy. All right, there's all those links that I started posting at around 2:26. Reading messages, unplug jazz metal for the win. Kylie, oh, you were at the Cyber Now. Very informative. Good. I'm pleased to hear it. Thank you so much. If we don't get a recorded version, I'm going to bring you online, bring you into my Zoom session, and you can tell us about it. Couldn't be there, had to work, understand. DD Wash, according to CompTIA, Linux is one of the top 10 skills requested in job listings. I couldn't agree with you more. I have been beating the doors down at the boss's office to say, don't make me create this cheapy little 2-hour basic Linux admin class. Let me create a Linux Plus class for CompTIA. I don't see the market share for it. Yeah. What he sees and what I see are different, but since he's the one who puts his name on the bottom of my paycheck, what he sees is what I agree with. Couldn't be as okay. Wilshaw talking to Eddie. Okay. Yeah, helping out Eddie with an answer. Thank you. Die Hard was in a high rise. Yeah, it's a Christmas movie, not a horror. I love that argument. Is it a Christmas movie? Is it a drama? Action. Action thriller. That's the argument. It must be me is here. Hey, good to see you. I saw you on Mike's show on Wednesday as well. I'm trying to access local users and groups through computer management, but it's not showing up for me. I can't figure it out. I will take a stab in the dark to say you are running Windows Home, and that does not support the users and groups profile management stuff. If you are running Pro, let me know and we'll pursue it a little further. But if you got Home, you don't get to play with local users and groups. Right, 2 bits, 4 bits, 6 bits of peso. Gosh, I just knew I should never read out loud. All right, let's see what else is going on in my notes. I'm caught up there. So let's start by mentioning a little bit about today's upcoming project in 20 minutes or so. Every week I tell you, do you have to have a Raspberry Pi to do our project? The answer to that is no. In fact, the thing we're going to do already works on a Raspberry Pi. The problem is it doesn't work on certain other distros. And so I'm going to show you how to do it using a Raspberry Pi, how to fix some other distros like Ubuntu, Kali, every Red Hat flavored distro. But I'll show you what it is on a Raspberry Pi and how to use it. Where we've been, where we're going. Last week, we completed our 2-part series on internal reverse proxy servers. And we had to break that up. No, we didn't. We did that in order. So 2 weeks ago, we started with what do you need to know about reverse proxy servers to prepare for the SY0601 exam. So we did an academic presentation, little facts. And then last week's, we made it real by installing Nginx and then configuring it as a reverse proxy server. It was a cool exercise. I'm not going to review it. You can download my notes and go back and watch the archive show. And it was a good one. Today, we're going to switch gears. We're going to look at a very powerful name to address resolution or translation protocol called Avahi. Now, the protocol isn't actually called Avahi. The program that's going to implement it is Avahi, and it doesn't exist by default in some Linux distros. And the problem with that is that means you cannot access those resources by their host name. And likewise, they can't access other hosts by their host name. They have to use IP addresses. So I'm going to show you what piece of software, what kind of Avahi to install in a variety of distros so that you will be able to access things and ping them and SSH to them and go to their web services by name instead of IP addressing. Again, that function, that feature is built into Raspberry Pi OS, but there's a lot of other distros that need a little help here. Remember, if it goes too fast for the project, go to http pirsquare.zapto.org. I didn't put that as a link up. Let me put that up right now here. Control C. Dave's document archive web server. Colon, not quote. There we go. Okay. And you can download all my notes from today's show. You don't have to watch and listen for 20 minutes. Interesting news, tricks and techniques of the week. I've mentioned this before, but I'm under orders because I still work for Total Seminars to remind people that if you are of an international location and you're looking for discount vouchers, we got them. Just go to totalsem.com, go to our, you'll see on the main page over by the Blue Angels whatever that is, F-16 probably. international vouchers. And you click on that, we've got vouchers that are good in 50 different countries. Check and see if yours is among them. Somebody asked me about a particular country recently, and I went and looked it up, and much to my shock and amazement, it was not in that list. So go to a nearby country. I mentioned this last week, but I think it's worthy of mentioning again. Rocky 9 is out. All the Red Hat distros are moving up one generation. Red Hat goes first, and then Alma went, and then Rocky's finally gone. So there is an image for Raspberry Pi. The planned end of life, I didn't mention this yet. I remember putting this in this week. The planned end of life is May 31st of 2032. So if you keep your Pi running that long, and then you can keep Rocky 9. Rocky is a clone of Red Hat Linux, which is one of the most important Linuxes out there. It's used by all the US military branches, their administrative offices. It's used by most of the government that uses Linux. It's one that you ought to get to know. All right, so you find it at rockylinux.org/download. Hey, let's just throw that out. I think I can fit all this as a post. Yeah, look at that. Okay. And I did my other news of the week, so that's cool. I think that's going to take care of everything here up until the contest. Yeah, it does. Excuse me. All right, let's see if anybody else has added anything else while we're at there. Eddie's offering gratitude for everybody's input. Where did I put those two links? Oh, the two links that you need, Eddie, are at 2:32 and 2:33, 32 minutes past the hour, 33 minutes past the hour in the chat feed. I am. No. ET, no one home, but thank you. Have home. Okay. I feel sorry for Zorro. I can laugh today. I don't have to choke when I do. No politics here. My comment is on the edge. Hopefully not over. Yeah, there we go. That reminds me, next week is not only our anniversary show, knowing how busy it's going to be on my side, on the administrative side, tracking all the winners and things like that. Andrew Hutz should be back with us. He is going to Quebec this weekend, and we used to have a couple Quebecers, but I don't see either of them here today. Who do we have here today? Okay, we got plenty of concurrent viewers. We're all right. I'm going to start a contest here in a minute or two. But first, Will Shaw, Microsoft said, my Windows 8.1 dies in January 2023. I got that same notification from Microsoft, not because I run Windows 8.1. My 3rd gen i5 system is looking great for Rocky. I like that. You're a Fedora guy. By the way, Fedora was in the news. I think you were on the road when I mentioned this last week. What was important about Fedora last week? Oh, they're going to do an ARM version. They've announced an ARM version. So we are expecting a, hopefully a Pi version. And you'll be able to tell the difference between that and your ancient CentOS system. Tolowitz says, I just saw an article about persistent memory modules. Are you aware of this? I have run across the phrase recently, but no, I do not know. I'm sure you'll stick that in the Discord channel, and I will look at it there. And if it's something we should talk about, then we will. All right. Well, now seems like a pretty good time for a giveaway. I'm feeling like giving stuff away. I'm going to do the usual, no tech questions. There will be tech questions next week. Okay, I got cool prizes. I'm going to give away the lesser cool prizes using random number guessing, but for the cooler prices, you gotta earn them and you gotta learn them. And I will try to, before I get the notices posted in LinkedIn and Discord and the other handful of places that I play, I'll give you some topics to brush up on. I will try to do that. I'm not promising because I just thought of it this very second. So it's a wisp of an idea. But for today, let's give everybody a nice equal chance at winning anything. We're going to offer a 90-day access to any of the Total Tester online practice tests that we have in stock. They're all in stock because it's just software. And we will do it in the usual way that Dave does it. For all fairness, I'm going to give you a range of numbers. You have to guess what number my random number generator program came up with in that range. Closest to without going over will win. You get 3 guesses. They must all be in separate entries. Okay, nothing that says 1, 2, 3. Give me a 1. And then give me a 2 and give me a 3. There's only 15 of you here right now. Almost everybody here has won. Eddie may not have won. He's about the only new name that I see looking back. So anybody is eligible. No matter how many times you won in the past, you can win another, excuse me, 90-day access to anything. Will I be showing the answer again? I hope I haven't showed it since that one big major mistake. I know I scrubbed it out of the document that I put in the archive server before I did that this morning. You know what? If we all got called up for all the mistakes that we've ever made, I'd be hanging from a rope by now. All right, let's do this thing here. As I read these last questions, my distros of use are CentOS 07, Ubuntu, ARPi OS, and Kali. I think I have a Linux problem. That's not a problem. That is the way and the light. And I'm working my way. I'm looking to kill my Linux, my Windows systems. Persistence of memory. Thank you very much, TD Washington. You're exactly right. Persistence of memory is a Dali painting. And did you already say the range of numbers? I did not say the range of numbers. I do this long, slow, draggy buildup, but I am ready to do that now. So here comes a range of numbers. You get 3 separate guesses, different posts for the number that my random number generator calculated in between that range. Closest to without going over will win. Let me try and bring it up here and make sure that I've got it ready to go. All right, I got that ready. That's a good sign. And then we go over to the winners tally page so I can fill in notes. All right, here we go. I have the range. The range is, give me a number between 5,000 and 8,000. 3 guesses. Closest to without going over wins. You may begin. Man, my phone is wonking like crazy. Well, somebody got very excited about that. No, you don't have my text number, do you? I have one on that one. Not giving Raspis away. You got the last Raspi giveaway, Andre de Goyard. It was definitely pulling hen's teeth. All right, you can say pass, but I may force it on you anyways if no one is significantly close. All right, let's see. Numbers coming in here. Oh my gosh. There is a number that's amazingly close. We'll put this down here as a possibility. And see if anybody gets any closer. DP, the range is between 5,000 and 8,000. So 1650 is not in that range. 3 tries. Yes, Maven Feliciano. Good to see you, my friend. Long time no see. Oh, there you are. I see you with a guess up there at 25 and another one at 55. And 908, you are out of tries. All right. I'm going to have to do this just in case. Wow. Okay. All right. I have a plan. 10 more seconds. I'll take the input for 10 more seconds. And I have a winner out of all the submissions to this point, if nothing gets closer. I had to switch to my phone, missed the range. Okay, nope, you got the range was 5,000 to 8,000. Oh, you were totally out of range. Maven, I'm going to give you 10 seconds to put in 3 guesses that are in range, because I didn't realize that. Yeah, you're way under. So yeah, the range is 5,000 through 8,000. 10 more seconds for Maven Feliciano to take a shot at it. And then after Maven's last guess, I'm going to pick a winner. I have one picked right now. Okay, I see one of Maven's in-range guesses. I see 2 of Maven's in-range guesses. Stop it, Andre. Sometimes I have to edit these. I got to go back and pull all that junk out. All right, there's your 3 guesses. We are closed off here. Maven, you had a very close one, but it wasn't close enough. The closest one said pass, and I was going to force him into it, but I don't need to because there was a pretty close one that didn't pass. So the number was, where'd it go? Winning number. Oh, it's up here. 7707. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, wow. Maven, you were really close to 7745. So Will Shaw had a guess. I deleted it already, but it was 7,700. So you were within 7, but I accept your pass because TD Washington guessed 6933. That's what I get as closest without going over. TD Washington, congratulations. You have won 90-day access to the total tester of your choice. I'm posting the how to do it on the YouTube chat feed right now at the current time, which is 57 minutes past the hour. Let me put the slide up for fun, because it's fun for me to review. By the way, I didn't see the name here, but whoever won Mike's on Wednesday has not emailed me yet. And that's the one way to guarantee that you will not get your prize. TD Washington, send an email to me, Dave R at totalsem.com. Include 4 facts in the body of the email. Your YouTube name, TD space Washington. Your real given name. I know what it is, but I had to submit this email and it has to have these 4 things in it. So my knowing it doesn't help anybody. The email address that you want to use for the people who manage this stuff to send you your access information. I can't use the one that's in the header. If it's the same one that's in the header, put it again in the body of the email, and then which practice test you would like by exam number, right? So if it's Network Plus, tell me N10-008. Okay, and I can't use the title Network Plus or whatever. All right, congratulations, TD Washington. Another winner. TD has won in the past, but just about everybody here has. So if you didn't win, and especially if you're new or you haven't won in a long time or haven't won at all, don't worry. Mike does this twice a week. In fact, he gave away 2 on his Monday show last week because he made, he missed something. How's that? I don't want to, I would never say Mike made a mistake, other paycheck signer friend of mine. But and I did hear from both of those people. So there was 2 winners that day. And then there was a winner on Wednesday who hasn't contacted me yet. You know what? I'm going to say that I got notes here that will tell me the name, the YouTube name of that one. Oh, no, I got Benjamin. He was Tanya Jacobson. Tanya, if you're by chance watching today, I need your email. I submit this stuff tonight. I'll hold it for a week. So if I hear from you next week, I can get it in. But after that, your submission evaporates. Know what I'm saying? Because that's what I'm saying. All right, save this, and that's done. Hey, we're coming up on the top of the hour, just like we always do. And so let's talk about a project for today. It's a fun project. It's a neat project. It's an important project because there are distros out there that do not participate in name to address translation, IP addresses, MAC addresses. You have to work by knowing their IP addresses, and what a pain that can be. So fortunately, that capability is built into the Raspberry Pi operating system, and equally fortunately, we can add it into any other distro with a very, very simple command. In fact, I could type in the command right now and say, everybody do this on this list of distros, and we'd be done. But wouldn't it be more useful to kind of understand what you're doing and why you're doing it? No, just the facts, man. Tough. My show. However, this will go quick, and we don't have much to do after it, so it might be a short day, and that's how it goes. It's okay. Checking messages that popped up for just a moment, and then I'll get back to the project. TD, woo, will. Emergency beacon. Thank you, Will. Nicely said. Ever since I bought a tablet, I stopped using my laptop for the most part. My phone is used when I'm not home or occasionally home. Okay, I understand that. It's something that we all do these days. All right, let me move over to my notes where the project starts. So we're going to be using a program package anyways called Avahi, and it's not just Avahi, it's got some other stuff in it, but here's the background on it. First of all, there is not a direct CompTIA objective in the trifecta that links directly to today's project, but it's an important process, it's a useful process as a technician, especially anybody who participates a little bit in the Linux world and in the Windows world. We can kind of understand what's going on now that you may have never noticed, may have never cared about, and suddenly facepalm. Oh, and you know, this would be like so cool if you got a tech job in an interview and they asked you something about this and you said, oh yeah, this is this and this is that and this is why this does that and this is how you make a Linux host. You're hired. If you know that much, if you know what I'm going to show you today, you are going to wow them and bowl them over. And I don't expect you to memorize this today unless you download the notes from pyrsquare.zapto.archive, and then all of the stuff I'm talking about is documented in a scriptable format. So you can learn it from that, and you can certainly do your own research on it. So Windows used to have this naming to address translation system, resolution system called NetBIOS. It was actually invented by IBM, and it basically allowed you to give a computer a friendly name. And then the NetBIOS process wasn't just a name, it was also the process that was used by your computer. So when you said ping Fred, it would stop, it would go out and figure out Fred's MAC address. It would call out, hey, is everybody here? Everybody here, pay attention, I got a message. Is anybody named Fred? And everybody who's not named Fred would ignore that. And the host named Fred would say, yes, I'm Fred. And built into that information would be his MAC address. And now we fill that out on a table. If I ever have to talk to Fred again, I know his name is Fred, and here's his MAC address. That was NetBIOS. That was a naming system. It's okay for simple, small networks, but it doesn't work for larger networks. And so Microsoft developed a more sophisticated name to address system where there was a server that had a list of all that stuff on there, all the names of all the hosts and their MAC addresses. And that was called a WINS server, Windows Internet, something, whatever that is for, name service. And we don't care about that. WINS is dead. WINS has been dead for a long time. NetBIOS still exists. It's got several problems, it's got tons of problems. One of them is only good on local area networks. So you can't cross a router with it. And that's good because there's probably a lot of hosts out there named Dave, named Test, named Host. You get it? So that's no good. But NetBIOS as a native protocol is dying. But for backward compatibility, built into the TCP/IP stack is NetBIOS over TCP/IP, or more accurately, NetBIOS over IP. And so they emulate the process but use IP packets to pass along that NetBIOS information. Not stuff you need to know. I'm just kind of laying down a background for you here. One of the problems with NetBIOS is the naming conventions are simple, and that's all you get, a name and a MAC address. There are other things that we would like to know about other stations, like what services are available on this host? Is there a print server on there? Is there an SMB server? Is there a mail server? That information is not available in NetBIOS. And so more sophisticated NetBIOS, name and service to address resolution protocols have been created. And we take those protocols collectively and call them, now here's a real CompTIA term that matters in some CompTIA certifications, including Linux Plus, ZeroConf, one word, ZeroConf, short for zero configuration. The name collection, the name dissemination, the service collection, the service advertising, all of that under ZeroConf becomes transparent to the user. It just happens automatically in the background, just like DNS. When you type in www.google.com, you don't see the hamburger that has to get made where your system has to stop, make a call out to a DNS server and say, hey, do you know anything about google.com? No, but I know about com. Let me get you in touch with a server who can give you more information. And all this back and forth stuff is happening in the background. Every time you go to a new website or some other named location on the internet, and finally, all that information and passing back and forth generates an IP address that gets sent to your machine. And now your machine can create an outbound packet because it has to have source IP address and destination IP address in the IP header before it can leave your computer. So they have created localized versions of that stuff. And that's what ZeroConf is all about. It's about making transparent the ability to identify and access host names and services without knowing how to do that. So I don't have a tutorial today. This is all from the evil mind of Dave. Now, I got to tell you about a mistake that I made. I wrote this up on Sunday night last week, right, a day after the show last week. So here's a topic I've wanted to talk about for a long time. Here we go. Wrote it up in a couple hours and went to bed. And then it bugged me for days. It said, there's something wrong with what I wrote. And what I did and what made it wrong is the fact that I'm 60 and have been doing this since it's been around. And I was totally wrong in one of the premises that I built this whole thing up on. I knew that I was, but I thought it was soft wrong and I could get it. So I sat down Wednesday night and said, let's revamp the whole thing and research it and get modern, because there's so much modern stuff that happens. So I rewrote today's project and my notes and the course and whatever. And it's right now and it's true and it's good. All right, covered that. NetBIOS over TCP/IP lets us discover and contact hosts using Windows names instead of using DNS names. So it exists. NetBIOS over TCP/IP exists for the sake of backward compatibility, but there's so much better ways, and we mostly use the new and better ways. So there's my notes to myself, what server I'm going to demonstrate stuff on. All right, so let me fire up an SSH connection to a server and share it with you and show you what I'm talking about in practical terms. So I'm going to run putty pi at project pi. No, I'm going to use the IP address just because I want to. 192.168.1.101. Password is raspberry, RASPBERRY. That is a Raspberry Pi. All right, now into the share mode. Okay, this is an SSH connection with a Raspberry Pi. Couldn't be simple. Oh man, you know, I'm going to leave that up and running, but I'm not going to share that. I got something else that I want to share with you. I'm just going to open up a command prompt on my Windows machine. Not going to run it in as an administrator, just a regular, boring, old-fashioned command prompt. There we go. Now share that. Share screen. And bingo. Okay, here is a Windows command prompt. Now I got a Raspberry Pi server out there on my network called 192.168.1.101. It also has a name of Pi project. So let's ping it. First of all, the old-fashioned way, we'll assume that I know the IP address of this thing. So we can say ping. We're using the Microsoft version of ping, which remember sends out 4 pings and reports back, and then it terminates the program. So ping 192.168.1.101, enter. And notice in this instance, the ping worked with IPv4 because I specified an IPv4 address, called out 4 times, got slightly different results, but 9 milliseconds, 6 milliseconds, under a millisecond and 3 milliseconds, no losses. Okay, cool. But I want to talk to it using its name. And the name of it is Project Pi, but that's not good enough. It has to be part of a local domain, and specifically that local domain has to be called .local. Now that's automatic, and I'll show you how and where that happens as we go on here. But let us now ping Project Pi .local. Remember, this is a Raspberry Pi server. I haven't made any changes to it from the default installation. And he goes buzz, 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 grind, grind, grind. And look at that. For some reason, it says, I'm going to ping it on its IPv6 local address, link local address. It's an FE80. Okay, about the same numbers. So I want to see it in IPv4. So using the Microsoft version of ping, I can put a -4 or a /4 either at the end of the line or right after ping. It works the same way and gives you the same results. So ping -4, and here it all comes. And that means, cool, maybe I know the name of that thing when I created it, and I don't know its IP address. As long as it supports this stuff that we're talking about, I'll get more into actual names and things. I can learn the IP address that way just by pinging its name. So I ping projectpi.local, and now I know the IP address of that thing is 192.168.1.101. Nice. All right, I'm going to do a little bit of backward magic here. Stand by, and then show you something new and cool. Not there, this. Okay, buzz, 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 grind, grind, grind. Now, there are some distros that don't participate in name to address resolution. And so if you were to try to ping them by name, let's see what happened. Now, what I've just done is I've just set my Raspberry Pi up to be configured the same as some of those same distros. Let's see, we are in the Windows command prompt. So I'm going to ping projectpi.local again. And let's envision that this is an Ubuntu installation or a Kali installation. This is exactly what's going to happen. It's pinging. It didn't get anything. In fact, I couldn't even do a lookup on the name projectpi.local. So that's what we're trying to fix. Ubuntu, Kali, all the Red Hat distros don't participate in this name to address translation system that uses .local, and it doesn't participate in a related service that can advertise not just host names and can research not just host names, but services. The name of those two protocols are mDNS, stands for multicast DNS. So it uses DNS type stuff. And it says, whenever I need to know a name or an IP address or a MAC address of a host, my user will provide one of them, and I will multicast, which means I will send out to everybody on the local network, or on the local network address. Stuff doesn't work over the internet. It only works on .local, and I'll get the information back. Multicast DNS, mDNS. The other one is DNS-SD, like an SD card, and that's service discovery. Now, service discovery, remember in DNS, we don't just do names of hosts. We do types of hosts, mail servers, web servers, hosts, print servers, all kinds of other goodies in there. And the two are related, and working together collectively, they create a zero conf environment, a zero configuration environment. And here's what happens. The DNS-SD, service discovery protocol, says, first of all, I have services that I want people on the local network to know about. And so periodically, it will use, installed in the same computer, the mDNS service and say, hey, dude, advertise my service. And he'll do a multitask that says, hey, this host, which is called Dave, has an SMB server on there in case anybody needs to know. The MAC address is built into that. Cool. And other systems running zero conf cache that up. Now, this is where it gets really amazingly cool. Oh, let's go the other way around. You typed in the name of some host that you want to ping or whatever. That goes to DNS-SD. SD says, okay, I know the information you want. Let me talk to mDNS and have him do the query for me. He'll do a broadcast or multicast out, find the information we need. It'll come back to me and I'll pass it up to you. It uses standard DNS programming interfaces, APIs. So cool. Now let's go nuts. This is where it gets really crazy and really cool. Let's say your company has invented a new service. It's not a standard TCP/IP service. It's, I don't know, it's the I'm at my desk service. I'm not just logged in, I'm sitting at my desk. Every time I'm typing, my system recognizes that I'm there. Anything that I do on my computer tells that I'm there. And so we're going to give that a service name, maybe called I'm here. And we can put that service name in a configuration file, and that becomes one of the services that's lookupable using mDNS requests and using DNS-SD requests and advertisements. So local companies do that. So this is what it's all about. What we need is for our hosts to participate in the mDNS and DNS-SD process. Windows does it. You saw me successfully contact some host name. I don't know any others. I have so many hosts up here. I have no idea what their names are. Here's one. It's an Ubuntu host. I don't know if I put that in there. Let's give it a try. Ping duck 10i5 FNH. Oops, that's not going to work. It did work. It automatically appended the .local. So cool. So that's an Ubuntu host, but I've installed the software necessary to make it participate in mDNS and DNS-SD. So I can hit it by name. Cool. Of course, it responded in IPv6. So let's do it again with 4. And here it comes. And now I've learned its IP address to boot. It's IPv4. It's 1.123. I got a timeout. All right. So we got the concept. We need 2 protocols in order to participate in this name to address resolution process or this service to address process, mDNS and DNS-SD. Now, Windows can do it. We just saw Windows use this process. How does Windows do it? Because when we weren't looking, it's not built into Windows, a piece of software was installed over time, and it's called Bonjour, or Bonjour if you like. It's created by Apple, and all kinds of programs and processes use it, and they install it if it's not already installed in your machine. Apple basically laid down the foundations for this mDNS stuff and this DNS-SD stuff. So it can advertise its name and its IP address and its MAC address using DNS localized memory-based services, and it can look them up. Now, if you don't have that, that's okay. All you got to do is look up mDNS service for Windows, and there's a million downloadable ones out there. What's the big popular one? I wrote it down here. Down in my notes. Apple's Bonjour Service. Okay, Bonjour type utilities such as DNS-SD.exe are available for Windows. So if your Windows machine can't talk to local hosts by their host names or by domain names that end with .local, either install Bonjour, Apple Bonjour, or DNS-SD.exe. Just look it up for your favorite download. Now, let's fix our problem. My problem on my Kali machine, my Red Hat machine, and my Ubuntu machine is that they don't have these two protocols installed. So here's how we do it. Let me share my connection with you, my SSH connection that I set up at the beginning of this. There we go. We'll do a clear screen on here. So it was working when we first started this off. The reason that it stopped working is because I removed the two protocols, and you can do that with a single command, and you can do it with that's it. The command that we're going to use, by the way, is it works. What I'm going to show you in all of the distros we talked about. Sometimes there's differences in Red Hat systems than there is in Debian-based systems, and there is still one difference. We use apt or apt-get in Debian systems. Red Hat systems like Alma Linux, Rocky Linux, Fedora, old CentOS, and Red Hat itself, they don't use apt or apt-get, they use yum. So let's see if Avahi is installed. And the way we're going to do that is do a services check. In a Debian system, we're looking for a piece of program called the Avahi daemon. And to check and see if it's running, whoops, that's installing it. I don't want to install it. Yum list, Avahi. I didn't put that in my notes. Oh, it's real quick and painless. All you got to do is run top Avahi daemon. I just did this the other day. Let me see if I saved that as notes here, because I was just experimenting with it all. Top. Hang on. Okay, I didn't save it. All right, well, we can just do it this way then. Top. And then what you'd have to do is try and call this thing, or just look down here alphabetically. It should have, what am I missing here? Something really obvious. But you'll go down here and you'll find Avahi listed somewhere, or if you go through it all and it's not listed, then there you go. Let's try with htop. All right, works with htop. Here's the htop running Avahi command. And it's not running because I turned it off. I disabled it in here. It's not going to be in this list. Q to quit. How about we top Avahi and skip the daemon? Nah, okay. All right, so it's not running. If you are in a Red Hat distro, in order to see it run, I'm going to put the command in here. Oh, there it is. I'm such an idiot. We use system control in a Debian system. System control, and then check is active for Avahi daemon service. And it's going to report back either active or inactive. That'll tell us that we have it installed. So it's inactive. It's not installed. It's not running. So I'm going to install it, and then I'm going to show you that. If you want to see the same information in Red Hat, I'll put this command in, but it's going to fail. So I'm not even going to hit the enter key on it. But I do know some of you are running Red Hat type distros. So you'd say sudo yum list available, and it would show you all the running processes in there. So we just want to pull out the lines that say Avahi. So we pipe it with that vertical bar through grep and say, show me all the lines that result in Avahi. Okay, so we're not active right now. Let's make it active. Now, if you go do this, sudo, I don't need sudo, apt cache, search Avahi, you wind up with a lot of Avahi stuff. This is the one we want, Avahi daemon, which is the Avahi mDNS DNS-SD daemon. I think I've been saying DS, it's SD. So, okay. Let's install it and make it run. Sudo apt install Avahi daemon. You don't need to do this in Raspberry Pi OS. It's already there, but you do need to do it in Kali, in Ubuntu, in all the Red Hats. Again, you would say sudo yum install in a Red Hat distro and hit the enter key, and it goes buzz, 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 grind, grind, grind. You really want to do this? I could have headed that off with a -y. Yeah, I really want to do this. And abracadabra, alakazam, she is done, finally. So now the last time I tried this from my Windows command line, it failed when I tried to ping, whatever the name of this server is, Project Pi.local. Now it'll work again. And let's prove it. And since it automatically adds .local, it's kind of cool. Am I plugged in there? There we go. CLS. So ping Project Pi. So Project Pi or Pi? Yeah, it's Project Pi. There we go. It added the .local to it. It tried to find it just by regular old-fashioned net BIOS, but that machine doesn't participate in old net BIOS. So then he tried it again with .local. So we're back in business. That's all you got to do. I could have done this whole presentation in 2 minutes to say, look, if your machine doesn't participate in name to address resolution, just do sudo apt install Avahi-daemon, and you'd have been done. But, you know, I got to turn it into a project and a process and kill 28 minutes instead of 2. All right, so is there anything else that I want to do here in the notes to show you or not show you? Sudo apt install Avahi daemon. That's it, installs. Oh yeah, so now that we've got it running, let's close up this DOS window. I know I'm old, I say DOS. And let's go back here to our SSH connection. And let's see the difference from when it wasn't installed and running to now it's installed and running. And we can just hit the up arrow and bring back our system control line. Hey, well, it's clear screen. It's kind of busy here. CLEAR. And now go back to system control is active. Avahi daemon. Remember last time it said inactive when I hit the enter key. Now it's active. It's loaded. It's up and running. And this is one of those nice things when you install the package, it automatically runs every time the system boots. It's not something I have to go in and configure with system control or anything like that. It's magic and it's natural. So now this machine, just like it was during its default installation, is running mDNS and DNS-SD. By the way, if for some reason you want to get rid of it, can't imagine why, but it's easy enough. Use sudo apt remove. Just like any other package. I don't want to remove it. I like it up and running. Checking my notes here, see if there's anything else I want to do here. Did that, did that, did that. It's all reinstalled, demoed with PuTTY. We just checked out the active. We tested it in the Windows command prompt. All right, that's it. So Avahi daemon installs the daemon for both mDNS. I don't want to hit exit yet. I want to stop the share. Then we exit. Okay, now we can exit. And let's exit out of this thing. That's just sucking up memory. So you're going to want to do this. This is the long and short of it. It makes your life so much easier. It means you don't have to know IP addresses to access things. I can SSH to them. I can ping them. I can go to web servers by them without knowing IP addresses. And that's now, this is where you get a little bit burned. Let's say I just installed an Ubuntu server. I don't know the IP address and it's not running Avahi. So I can't access it until I learn the IP address. And that means I'm either going to have a monitor and a keyboard, maybe a mouse if I use the graphical interface, to find out what the address is. Or if I did the installation headless and it's just done and I don't know, then I'll have to use a third-party IP address scanner like Nmap, Angry IP address, Angry IP, Advanced IP Scanner. All of them are great. And then once you know that IP address, now you can SSH to it, do sudo apt install avahi-daemon, and now you can access it by its name again, or not again. Cool. Fun project. Love that project. And I love that command. I know, again, could have been done in 2 minutes, but that's not me. If you've hung around here long enough, you know. All right, see if anybody had anything to say while I was doing all that nonsense. Reading messages. Everything okay? We got that. The last I left off with Maven at 259. I don't like tablets much. They come in handy sometimes, but I think they're overpriced for the time they last. Well, that and the swollen battery that you had in yours, that was pretty horrifying. I'm using skins for apps. What do you think of those? I'm not sure what you mean by skins. You know, if you're talking about the way it changes the look and feel of the interface. I've never used a skin on any of my phones or tablets. So you got me there. You got me. You've thrown skins for apps. I have a research project for next week in addition to the one that I'm doing with Wilson. Let me mark that down and put that in my notes here. Not those notes, these ones. Nobody came up with the answer for Wilson's 2 questions, huh? What does Control M do, and what is Dynatrace software used for with examples? You know, when you ask me for examples, Wilson, I'm starting to wonder if that's a homework assignment. You might have to come up with that. All right, we'll find it. Right, Andre didn't know what it was either, so we're not clear. So tell us what those are. You're using skins. We got time. What time is it? It's 34. I got 24 minutes to kill or close up short. So if you, Andre, I brought 2 fire tablets On Black Friday, I didn't register it and did minor hacks and mods. No such thing as minor hack, but okay. Works great. Better than my laptop, more RAM, etc. All right. But does that tell us what skins for apps means? Andre says, I had a bad experience with skins running on top of Windows. Several of our older clients use them. They cause all kinds of problems, but keeps me busy. All right, as long as you're employed, right? I prefer my desktop, easier to upgrade, lots of RAM, hardwired internet. I'm with you. I let my kid cannibalize my desktop the other day. He took my good graphics card and dumped off his AMD graphics card, which is okay on me. And I guess it's well deserved because I gave him that graphics card when I built him that system. And he's come to realize that I gave him the lesser of the two. Stand by. I talked for an hour and a half with all this nonsense that happened. And of course, your 3 monitors. More expensive, not portable. Yeah, everything comes with its own problems, right? I think I bought my tablets for 50% off. Okay. Wilshaw hates DNS. Struggle to remember a lot of that stuff for Net Plus. You know the rule, Wilshaw. Memorizing stuff is ridiculous. You cannot remember stuff. Of course you can, but with all that stuff coming into the fire hose, it's just another micro stream. How do you remember it? You use it. Play with DNS. Build an unbound server. Build a Pi-hole. Build them together. Put them in a Docker container. As you do that stuff, and I know that you do a lot of this kind of stuff, that's what makes it make sense. Screw it up. Fix it. Oh, I see why that happened. Run Wireshark on it. Track the traffic that's happening. Get to know it. Don't memorize it. And that's true. That's advice for everybody, for everything that you have to learn. Okay. Don't memorize tests. Learn them. There's a regular thread that pops up on CompTIA Reddit, on the subreddit for CompTIA. Which subnet masks should I memorize for the CompTIA exam? Don't. You got to be, which subnet mask? You never know what kind of question they're going to ask you. There's probably 10 in the pool. Learn how to understand and make subnet masks and what they do and how to calculate them, and then forget it. And now you don't have to memorize anything. You can do it. You might have to spend a day. You might have to spend 2 days doing it, but you can be very proficient in a day or two at subnetting. Dramatic memories of Mike's classroom.local and some host named Fred. Yeah, Timmy. Mike works with Timmy. I work with Fred. Sounds Ferengi. Another Star Trek observation the other day, but it's left me. Timmy always reminds me of South Park. He's not. When I first started hearing his Timmys, I had the same reference, but he turns out to have been using Timmy a lot longer than South Park's been around. Thank goodness. A wrap, it's called. Okay, I got more information to work with, but I still don't know. When you tell me skins or wraps for a tablet or a phone, I envision the cover. Here's my skin. By the way, those of you following last night on Discord, we did make our surf and turf, and it was a triumph. And I understand now why you're going to cough up $20 for a good bowl of lobster bisque at a decent restaurant. It is a time, labor intensive thing to do it right. I mean, after you've steamed the lobsters and you get them out of their shells, now we've got to cut up the shells and cook them again and get some more depth of flavor out of them. And it's a huge, almost 2 hours worth of effort to make a bowl of lobster bisque, and worth every second of it, man. Now, what makes it a triumph? When you time everything just beautifully, when you're serving the soup and the steaks are coming off of the grill and they are ready to rest. So they rest as long as you take to eat your soup, 10 minutes, something like that. And then oh gosh, we were just in meat sweat, surf and turf sweat last night. And we don't eat late. And so we really paid the penalty because I got a family full of people who are in and out all the time. So we weren't able to eat until around 8:39 p.m. I know in Europe that's a normal standard, but for us, we eat around 5 or 6. So backing that off by 3 hours has its impact on us. Save this note. I got lots of research questions there. Long word, I forget. Third-party access to apps instead of the official app. Launcher, I think, is the term that you're looking for there. There are lots and lots and lots of launchers. So number one, there's only one launcher for iOS. So I'm going to presume that you're using Android phones. And oops, I copied that wrong. Let me make a note here. I think Maven is talking about launchers. So what do I think of launchers? I have an answer for that, if that in fact is what you're talking about. I don't dislike them. I have played with them. I've installed various ones. I've used them. I have never found any that just make me so happy that I've stuck with it. Every time I've played with launchers, it's neat, it's cool, it's got this one new feature, but I'm always happy with the default one that comes with Android. Now, talk to my buddy Mike. He's always changing launchers because he just loves to play with different launchers all the time. I think on his current Z Fold or whatever his Fold model is that he has these days, last time I looked over his shoulder, he was using the default. He hasn't been playing with them, but I'll bet that's where we're going with. Well, so I hear you, Dave, at 337. I just have no other practical use for it aside from that kind of project. My wheelhouse, personal projects stay in the A+ realm for now. That kind of project meaning educational value, only not to use it after the test is done. All right. Sounds like I need to make me some steak for dinner. Absolutely. Ribeyes was our steak of choice last night. Well, kids, we're winding things up here. It's 42 minutes past the hour. That's not going to be too awful short. Let me check my final notes here. Oh, I'll post a couple other things again back in the shindig here. PyR active server. Remember, PyR is going to be up and running all weekend, and I will put on tonight that video that I'd like you to check out. I'll put a link on the main page. Here comes the Discord invitation. Here is the AMA special for the week, 50% off Total Tester and ebook bundles using the code POST. That code is good through Sunday night. Okay, anything else? Why did I use POST? Because Monday, I always do these codes based on an event in history that happened on Monday of the week. So Monday this week, 7/18/1933, Wiley Post began the first solo flight around the world. It took him 7 days and 19 hours. And he's from up in Oklahoma. Let's see, Dave Rush, my LinkedIn profile. We'll throw that up again. That's always fun. Hey, follow me on LinkedIn or link me on LinkedIn. You'll get my usually weekly posts. I've always got something good in there. Sometimes it's a tech tip. Sometimes it's what's coming up that you need to know about, maybe an AMA. I'm certainly going to do push the show this week for the 2-year anniversary. I've done things like Mike's Cyber Now webinar advertising, stuff like that. So there's always something good coming up. Dave's email addresses: Dave R at totalsem.com, drushtx @yahoo.com. Anybody's interested in looking into signing up now for one of the cohorts, also known as classes, at CyberNow, contact the nice folks at CyberNow. I got the link for that up. At least 2 people from our circle here of AMAs and Discords have signed up for the next cohort, and there may be more. Is that all I want to stick up there? Yeah, that's plenty. I love glazed glowworm. Oh no, I did glazed glowworm and grilled greyhound on Mike's show last week. Anything else here in this list? Oh yeah, there's always something. Goodness gracious. So next week, got lots of contests, lots of giveaways, some random number stuff and other random things, and then some knowledge stuff. So there'll be some simple knowledge stuff. There will be some more challenging stuff. So what do we got in upcoming things next week? That's a given. We're going to do our 2-year anniversary show. And then the 2 weeks after that, I don't know which order I'm going to do these in. We're going to look at Endeavor OS for ARM on the Raspberry Pi 4. It's an operating system that has been going through a lot of development and refinement. And the refinement level is such that I want to look at it and share it with you. And then I'm going to do some astrophotography with a good ArduCam, as long as I get weather and light conditions that are conducive in the next couple of weeks. I got some ideas for some other upcoming stuff, but that's it for the next 3 weeks. That takes care of things. All right. Any other final questions that have popped up? So otherwise, we're going to close things down here. Signal is breaking. A lot of rain hitting. Bye-bye for Maven Feliciano. For everybody else, I'm about done myself here. Let's wind things up. This has been Dave Rush. I'm the senior instructor at Total Seminars and resident Pi specialist. As ever and always, I wish, oh, I'm ahead of myself. Goodness gracious. How about, first of all, some gratitude? My thanks as ever and always to Mike Myers, Dudley Leamer, Andrew Hutz, everybody at Total, and National Cyber Group, who so generously provide us time and resources to get together like this. My most heartfelt thanks to you and everyone who comes here to participate. Keep doing it. I love you guys all. I appreciate it all. This has been Dave Rush. I'm the senior instructor at Total Seminars and resident Pi specialist. As ever and always, I wish you a great weekend. Take care of each other. Take serious steps to stay healthy. Call or visit your parents if it's at all possible. And never forget, technology is great, but the greatest resource we have are you and I. And so with that, I'll see you on Discord after I do this quickie project out back, and then see you again at the AMAs next week. And until then, I am out of here.